Hola, hola. We are mixing things up today to keep things interesting with this bonus episode. This is Jen Hemphill, your host, and I am thrilled that you are here. Thanks to AARP for sponsoring this episode. As I mentioned today, we are doing things a little different because this is a bonus episode, but in addition, we are actually doing this on video, which we don't normally do. And you have two versions. So besides the video and the audio version, you have two language versions. You have the English and the Spanish. So this is very, very exciting. And also about a year ago, we had Veronica Segovia Bedón from AARP with us to talk about AARP Money Map. I'll link that episode in the show notes. And she's back today. She does a ton of great work at AARP, and most importantly for you to know, she is an incredible advocate and champion for our community. I've had the pleasure to work with her on multiple occasions, and you will also probably recognize her as she was our MC for our Financially Strong Latina event back in March. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I love all the work that you do with Her Dinero Matters, the podcast, Jen Hemphill, Financially Strong Latina. I'm so glad you mentioned it because it was a great event. So thanks so much. I'm really excited that AARP is able to sponsor the great work that you do to empower Latinas to become the reina of their money.
Well, let's start with your role at AARP because it's a very important one. And I know you do incredible work, but give us the specifics as to what your role is.
This is really great. I really appreciate the opportunity because I am working on, I think something that we all need, that we can all benefit from, especially me, is really talking about myself and the work that I do, right? That's really empowering to be able to do that. And I think as Latinas, we need to do that more, right? We need to be able to talk about ourselves and talk ourselves up and not feel so humble about that. Because I could feel myself when you were talking about my role being important. I could feel myself like kind of shrinking down, like, no, it's not that important. So there's actually thank you. So there's a lot that I get to do at AARP. I have the honor and privilege of working in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at AARP. There is a lot of work that I get to do in the audience strategy team. So I work on the audience strategy team, specifically the audience team assigned to managing the strategy nationwide for engagement with the Hispanic Latino population in the United States. That is a large population. There's a lot of opportunity there. AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, and it is focused on empowering us to choose how we live as we age. So there's a social mission component to the work at AARP. It is specifically focused on the 50 plus, those of us who are 50 and older. But as you and I both know, the Hispanic Latino audience is one that is very multi-generational. My parents were here just last night for dinner. They come not only on Sundays, it's very important for us for those of us who are close in proximity to one another, that we see one another. And so, we're in multi-generational homes. The influence within our home is also, that balance is there. There's a balance there. I asked my parents for advice, but my parents have asked me my opinion for things too, right? And so a lot of that comes from being a first generation Latina. And so that's unique to me. And I bring that to the role at AARP, really the importance and the role and influence that millennials, Gen Xers, and even Gen Z have in a Latino household, and how reaching everyone can really benefit not only the Latino consumer, but also AARP, because we have a lot to learn from the community, and AARP has a lot to offer. And so I get the wonderful privilege of being a senior advisor on the Hispanic Latino audience strategy team. So I get to work with influencers like yourself, but I also work with organizations that have credibility and trust in the community. So, sponsoring the work of organizations like Unidos US or Hispanic Heritage Foundation, doing work like that. And then the internal work to consult the teams that exist at AARP that are already doing work, but really doing that consulting for them to show them, okay, so you have this tool. I know we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. But, for example, if there's a tool or a program or something that's getting accomplished at AARP, really bringing that lens, the honor and privilege of bringing the lens of multicultural audiences, specifically Hispanic Latino, to say, okay, this is how we can make it relevant for Latinos so that they not only embrace whatever it is that we're offering, but that they benefit from it, and that we are impacting their lives in a way that will, keep them engaging with AARP. So there's a lot there.
I love it. And last year when you were with us here at Her Dinero Matters, you told us about AARP Money Map and this incredible resource. And for those that haven't listened to that episode, can you tell us briefly what it is and why we should even use it?
AARP Money Map is a free solution that helps you create a clear plan of action for unplanned expenses and debt. So it helps us save time and interest on outstanding bills. And it also helps us track our goals and learn new ways to budget so that we can turn our goals related to personal finance into a reality. So aarp.org/moneymap is where you can visit the tool. AARP Money Map is incredibly helpful for getting our finances back on track. It's free and it's designed to help us tackle unplanned expenses, create a debt payback strategy, map out our financial goals, and set a budget. There's so much around Money Map. So I'm really excited to be able to chat about it with you again today, because there are some updates, right? I was here a year ago. I was here a year ago talking about the tool, and I'm excited to talk about it again today.
Since last year, what is new?
So last year I was here and specifically spoke to you about unplanned expenses and debt management. Those are two really key tools to the tool. And this year, we've added two other tools within AARP Money Map. So I mentioned that it's there to help map financial goals. So the financial goals tracker is new, and so is the budget manager. So the budgeting tool on how to budget. So there are 4 current tools or features that are a part of AARP Money Map. It's AARP Money Map Unplanned Expenses, AARP Money Map Debt Manager, AARP Money Map Financial Goal Tracker, and AARP Money Map Budget Builder. So really excited that we have those two. And then I would say the other new piece of news that we have, and hopefully folks have been hearing about it, but that's why I'm so grateful to you and to be able to work with you, Jen, on spreading the word. AARP Money Map, all 4 features are now available in español on aarp.org/moneymap. If someone has a browser that's already set to Spanish, the tool will appear there in Spanish. If your browser is set to English, you just have to click a button to toggle over to the Spanish translation. So I'm really excited to be able to say that AARP offers this tool in Spanish.
Well, I was really excited when you were telling me that it was going to get translated. And I just can't imagine how much work it took to do, because last year I played around with AARP Money Map and I just was so floored, because I'm thinking all these resources, putting all these resources from different areas of the nation that's, sometimes it's different from state to state. That's a lot of detail. It's a lot of work. And just the thought that it went to just the logistics of making sure, okay, this resource needs to be here and here or whatnot, and then adding on the new features. Incredible. So I'm just curious, why was it important for AARP to translate this resource to Spanish?
It is important for AARP to offer this tool in Spanish for many reasons. I mean, I am, I sit in a position that I mentioned earlier, serves as consult to certain teams at AARP. And one of the teams is a savings and planning issue area team. I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but AARP is really focused on 3 key areas of our lives. It's our health security, our financial resilience, and our fun and fulfillment as we age. And in Spanish, we refer to that as salud, dinero, y amor, right? And so the beauty of the job that I have is that, and the opportunity that I have, is to offer consult to teams who are building products at AARP. And one of those teams is the savings and planning team. I volunteered as an initiative lead to serve and explore new audiences for AARP. And I say that specifically, new audiences for AARP, because Latinos are not new, right? People who speak Spanish and prefer to get their information in Spanish are not new to the United States. We've been here, right? We've been here all along. But AARP could use the consult of the diversity, equity, and inclusion team in order to build tools and design tools with diverse audiences in mind. And one of the specific needs that we have around our community is that the majority of the 50 plus Hispanic Latino population in the United States speaks Spanish or prefers Spanish. And so when it comes to complex themes like personal finance, oftentimes Hispanic Latinos prefer to have that information in language, in Spanish. And so that combined with, the data that we have, the research that we have, specifically around the role that Hispanic Latinos have as caregivers, family caregivers. We know our research shows that Hispanics are more likely to go into debt to take care of out-of-pocket costs associated with caregiving. We have higher out-of-pocket costs when it comes to caregiving. And so, that's a key area for AARP to provide support in, and really provide resources and information on how to get our personal finances in order. I gave an example the other day talking about just, you and I were both part of celebrations and discussions around Latina equal pay. If Latinas are coming out of school with debt, the same amount of debt as their male peers, but they're making significantly less, we're going to be at a disadvantage over the course of our lifetime, trying to pay back school loans while balancing other bills that we have. And so, the opportunity is really there for AARP not only to serve this population in an area where the need is there, but also this tool, my hope is that it provides tangible value to somebody in their moment of need, to really help them and impact their life for the better. And that way, more people, especially more Hispanic, Latino, nuestra gente, are walking away understanding the important and good work of AARP. So I would say that's why it's important. That's certainly why it's important to me.
What I see, I agree with all of that. The other thing that I see is that since we are always in a position with our family members or our friends to translate, the big thing that just translating this resource does is that information can get lost in translation, especially if I am translating for someone about an area that I'm not familiar with. There is no way I can translate it very efficiently, right? There's going to be something lost in translation, and I'm going to be stressed. I'm going to be stressed that, oh my goodness, what if I don't tell them what they need to know about what I'm translating? So just the sheer fact that this is in Espanol, it gives us some peace that we don't have to do that. It lifts us that weight, it lifts weight off our shoulders that we don't have to do that. So I think that is huge, especially on a topic such as finances that a lot of people are just afraid of. They're timid of talking about money. So I really appreciate that for sure.
What this does is it really facilitates not only for us to have the conversation, but to have the tough conversations if we have to, right? The nice thing about having this tool and having it available is that it's not just me and my opinion that I'm translating to my mother if I'm giving her some advice related to something that is, a point of stress for her, right? It's a tool, it's here, it's in plain Spanish for her to see, right? It's not just, oh, Veronica's opinion, right? It's here, it's in a tool, and it's designed and based in research and in AARP's good. AARP has a lot of credibility when it comes to retiring or secure retirement, and so I think that that's also something that helps us. Takes the weight off the shoulders of those of us who do translate for our family members or our loved ones when we're talking about.
So tell us a little bit about, because I have found it very easy to use, but for someone that hasn't been to AARP Money Map, you go to the website, as you mentioned, aarp.org/money map. And then there's the different features or the different areas. So what happens? Let's say you choose, you have an unexpected expense and you're like, I need help with this. You choose that, then what? What happens?
Yeah, well, I do want to say, it's important to note that this is a free and online tool for AARP, and it's optimized for mobile or desktop. So you can access it from your phone, your tablet, or your computer. And anyone at least 18 years of age can use the tool, whether they're an AARP member or not. And it also gives us as users the ability to save our action plan and return to these solutions at any time. So on our own schedule, when we can, and as little or as often as we like. It really depends on what position you're in and how aggressive you want to be at paying down debt, or getting your financial goal tracker in place, or building a budget for your family. So the great thing is that you arrive on the website, whether it's from your mobile device or your computer, and you select your tool, and then you answer a series of questions based on the tool you selected and based on the situation that you're in. So let's say that you pick the debt manager solution. You are going to want to come prepared with the list of creditors and debts that you have to pay, because you are going to have to enter that information in there. And then it gives you step by step, you're getting tips on how to negotiate with your creditors or find local resources that can help you. There are integrations with other AARP tools, such as our Savvy student loan repayment tool, for a better consumer experience. So if you're entering student loans in there as debt, there is integration with our student loan repayment tool there as well. And like I said, you don't have to be a member, but what you do have to do if you want to save your plan and come back to it whenever you choose is register as an online user for AARP. And that's really quick and easy to do. And as long as you're an online registered user, you can come back and revisit your plans at your own on your own schedule. So I would encourage folks, depending on which, no matter what tool it is, but depending on the amount of time you have, I dedicate Saturday afternoons during my son's nap time to money meetings with my husband. So I know that I can go back and log into our tool on Saturdays when I want to do that. So
Love that. Now, I'm curious too as well. What is your favorite part of this tool? I'm going to share mine as well.
Okay, well, my favorite part of the tool, technically speaking, my favorite part is the fact that it's available in Spanish. Part of my role is I have the honor and privilege of showing up at events or panels or webinars representing AARP at community events. So, for example, Unidos US earlier this year hosted the Latinx Inclusion Summit. I got to show up there and actually co-host a breakout session with you, Jen, on financially strong Latinas. And oftentimes we get the question when I'm talking about the different resources that AARP has. I'm showing up there and I'm speaking in English to an English-speaking audience, but often the audience wants to know, is this tool available in Spanish? And for a couple of years, I had to say, no, it's not. Right now it is in English, but if you speak English and you speak Spanish, you can work with your family member who needs it and translate it. But now I get to say that it's available in Spanish. So that is absolutely my favorite, just technically speaking, my favorite thing about the tool is that it's available in Spanish. But of the 4 features that we currently have, I would say that Debt Manager is my favorite. And the reason for that is, personally, I've experienced in my 20s paying down a good amount of debt. There was one point where I had over $30,000 in debt across credit cards, student loans, a car. And I felt so incredibly stressed by it. And so to be able to go into my 30s, I worked with, from my own personal experience, I worked with a team, a debt solution through my credit union, but to really pay that down and to be able to go into my 30s without any debt was a real accomplishment for me. But that feeling, knowing that feeling of feeling like you are overwhelmed with debt, I know that feeling firsthand. And so for me, the most empowering piece is the Debt Manager, to feel empowered about the fact that my debt doesn't define me and that I can make a plan to get it down, right? That's very empowering, and it can help folks who are feeling stress around debt. So Debt Manager is my favorite.
I love that. I also love that it's in Spanish, but for me, I've been using it in a different way because I see it as such an educational tool. So of course, yes, you can use it to map out like how you're going to pay off your debt. You can use it if you have an unexpected expense. But what if you're just naturally curious? And what if you're wanting to prepare ahead, right? Or just the unexpected expense, let's say. You can go in and give different scenarios, and at the same time you're learning. And I think that's really powerful. And even with the different areas with the debt manager, maybe you are contemplating taking out some debt. You can put those figures and figure out, okay, if I take this debt out, what would be my plan? And I think that is just so powerful to do. So I really love that you can do that with a tool, because I find it really, really powerful.
That's very cool. I mean, preparation is key, right? So
absolutely. And I'm curious, for those that are using AARP Money Map and maybe have feedback, want to share a story, how do they go about doing that?
Yes. So thank you so much for asking that question, because, the truth is that what I am very excited about is to get feedback from the community. I want to know, how are you using the tool? How is it helping you? Or how can the tool be of more help to you? And I can get the feedback back to our team, because for one, it's helpful to know, who's using it, who's having success with it, so that we can share the success of the tool. But also, it's really important that we get feedback so that we know how to improve the tool and how to make it better and more relevant for you. So I love that you asked that question. I really appreciate it. I would love to know what the Financially Strong Latina community, what the Her Dinero Matters audience thinks of the tool and how it's useful to them.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, I will absolutely link your email in the show notes. Veronica, this has been fantastic as always. I always enjoy hanging out with you and talking with you. Please do check out AARP Money Map at aarp.org/Money Map. The link is in the show notes for easy reference for everything that we talked about. Also, share this with your friends, your family members, because it can be useful to them. And you can share this episode as well. That's another resource. You can share this episode. Remember, we have a video option. We have this in English. We have this in Spanish. You can't go wrong. Like, there's an option for pretty much everyone. And really, the best and easiest way that you can get this information out is share the following link, jenhemphill.com/bonus AARP. So just make sure you note that down, because in that you're going to have the link to the AARP Money Map. You're going to have the link to the previous episode that we did with Veronica. You're going to have the email, so you have direct access to Veronica, the links to the YouTube videos, everything. So that's probably the easiest place to go. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, the link is jenhemphill.com/bonus AARP. Gracias por estar aquí y nos veremos pronto. Chao.